18-year-old charged in Chatham murder. Fire season flares up, and Carly's comeback. News Now is next.
Your news leader in southwestern Ontario. News Now with John Thomas.
Good evening. A 7-year-old boy has been beaten to death in Chatham, and a suspect has been charged with first-degree murder. Bruce Nesbitt reports.
The location where the body was found remains cordoned off tonight. 7-year-old Daniel Miller was found dead in these abandoned buildings in the city's East End Saturday night. Charged with first-degree murder is 18-year-old Jeffrey Wayne Manley of Chatham. He is scheduled to appear in provincial court tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. The news of Miller's death has shaken the entire city, and people that live near the victim's family find it hard to believe. Mary Lou Wellington's daughter used to play with Daniel Miller.
She's a little too young to understand, except she asks us where the little one is that comes to play with her, because he used to come down after school. Danny didn't play with her quite a bit.
At a news conference earlier today, police said they are looking for the public's help.
We're asking anyone that may have observed some type of activity between the hours of 5 and 8 p.m. last evening to give us a call.
The autopsy on the body of Daniel Miller will be conducted at the Centre of Forensic Sciences in Toronto. Bruce Nesbitt, News Now, Chatham.
Now to world news. 2 Canadian peacekeepers were seriously injured in Croatia today. The United Nations soldiers were in a jeep that hit a landmine. Private George Anderson of Cat Bay, Newfoundland, lost an eye and the lower part of both legs. Lieutenant Chris Lunny of Regina suffered a fractured leg and facial injuries. Meanwhile, in Gorazda, medical evacuations have begun. Helicopters shuttled the injured out of the Bosnian town to Sarajevo today. The evacuees, including 2 children, will be flown to Italy, Finland, and Denmark for further treatment. Serb forces appear to be responding to a NATO ultimatum to clear out of Gorazda. A car bomb has rocked the headquarters of the African National Congress in Johannesburg, South Africa. At least 9 people are dead, nearly 100 people were wounded. One ANC candidate for the provincial assembly is among those killed. Police are blaming right-wing whites who continue to resist the elections in an effort to preserve a white homeland. South Africa's first all-race elections will be held Thursday or Tuesday. Plans for peace talks to end civil war in Rwanda have collapsed. Rebel leaders refused to negotiate this weekend, and a government delegation failed to show up for talks in Tanzania. An environmental cleanup today went underwater near Amherstburg. To mark Windsor's Earth Day, 35 scuba divers scooped up garbage from the Detroit River. In the last 6 years, the Windsor Skin and Scuba Club divers have collected enough garbage to fill 65 blue boxes. This annual cleanup took divers to depths of up to 25 feet.
Oh, there's a lot of beer bottles, beer cans. Zebra mussels are incredible down there. There's millions of them.
A reminder of the danger of grass fires this weekend near Delaware, west of London. A small brush fire got out of hand. Elizabeth Chu reports.
Brian Thomas and a couple of friends started what was supposed to be a small controlled fire to clear some dead timber. But this afternoon's combination of brisk winds and plenty of dry wood forced a call to Delaware Township firefighters. They helped extinguish the first blaze. Just minutes after firefighters left, another cloud of smoke was billowing from a thick patch. Family and friends tried to put out these scattered flare-ups, but in this brush, they quickly got away.
Because it's so dense from the, from the tornado that was here a few years ago, it's tough to get in and out quickly.
And it was hard to get out of the area.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Were you scared?
A little bit. Yeah. Not my regular line of work.
This is the first brush fire of the year for Delaware Township firefighters. But the Mount Bridges Fire Department says deliberately set grass and brush fires have been a big problem this year.
It's pretty rough this time of year with the dryness.
Thomas's advice to anyone thinking about clearing their property with a fire is simply don't. Elizabeth Chu, News Now, Delaware Township.
It was an emotional farewell to a village doctor in the village of Belmont, southeast of London. Bob Smith reports.
Close to 300 people crowded into the community center to say goodbye to the man who saw them through nearly 40 years of rural life. Dr. Peter Marchuk wanted to start a practice in a small community. He chose Belmont and it seems Belmont chose him.
He always has kind words, and he's just a wonderful person. He was always friendly and kind to you. He has a very kind nature.
Dr. Marchuk wouldn't hazard a guess at the number of patients he's had over the years, but it seemed a healthy percentage of them were there to say thank you today.
It has been truly my privilege and honor to know each and every one of you. Never has so much been owed to so many by one individual. I thank you.
The village will miss him and his gifts as a doctor. As of yet, no one has come forth to replace him in his practice. There is an after-hours doctor available, but for the most part, a visit to the family doctor in Belmont will now mean a trip to London or St. Thomas. Bob Smith, News Now.
An update tonight on a 2-year-old Saskatchewan girl who almost froze to death 2 months ago. Carly Kosolowski made a remarkable comeback. Wayne Mantika reports.
Carly Kosolowski played with a favorite toy while sitting in her mother's lap. She's been dubbed the Miracle Child. Clinically dead for 6 hours after freezing outside this past winter, Carly recovered and made medical history. The family has had to make a few adjustments. Carly lost a leg to frostbite, and it will be a few more weeks before she is fitted for an artificial limb. But that's not stopping her.
She's adjusted better than any of us. To her, this is just, she doesn't know that this doesn't happen to everyone. I mean, and she just, when she wants to do something, she tries it. If she can't, well, then she pretty much got us figured out on on the things she can't do.
One of Carly's favorite activities is going through her mail. Hundreds of letters wishing her well from around the world.
The U.S. ambassador to Canada says Canada is risking a nasty trade war with the United States. On Sunday Edition today, Jim Blanchard accused Canada of trying to renege on the free trade agreement by trying to protect marketing boards.
For every grievance the Canadian negotiators have, I can give you one from the American side, from magazines to beer to dairy and poultry. Our dairy farmers, our poultry farmers, feel very much that they should not be locked out of Canada, and your consumers pay 3 times for milk and chicken what we pay right across the border.
Sunday Edition host Mike Duffy joins us now from Ottawa. Mike, so what about the U.S. demand for access to our markets?
Well, I think the American ambassador really tipped the U.S. hand. They're not after our wheat. They really want Canada to back off on the use of marketing boards. However, I'd say that given the political clout of our farmers, especially our dairy farmers, I don't expect to see the Canadian government back down. It will be just too costly politically, especially in Quebec, which has about half of all of Canada's dairy production.
So what about Ontario?
Well, of course, we have a lot of farmers covered by marketing boards, but there is one side element in all of this that could really hurt Ontario farmers if the Americans find out about it.
And what's that?
Well, it's kind of a secret. Most people don't realize it, but there's been a huge growth in grain production here in Ontario, and some estimates say we're trucking as much grain into the United States as our Canadian prairie farmers. But these Ontario sales are private. They're what they call in the trade off-board sales. They're not made through the Canadian Wheat Board. So far, the Americans haven't noticed, and U.S. farmers haven't complained. If they do, then our guys could be in trouble, so why don't we keep it our little secret?
Thanks a lot, Mike.
My pleasure, John. Talk to you again next weekend.
In Walkerton today, a strong show of community support in a fundraising walk to raise money for hospital equipment. About 500 people took part in a 5 and 10K walk. Money raised will go toward the purchase of a CAT scan for the County of Bruce Hospital. And there was gold at the end of the rainbow for 2 British couples this weekend. The couples followed clues laid out in a children's book to Niagara Falls, New York. And there, they uncovered the last ferry. The statue was buried under a bridge at the Rainbow Falls 10 years ago. Stay with us. Gus AM is up next with weather. We'll be right back. A fun run in support of the Battered Women's Advocacy Clinic took to the streets of London this morning. Over 200 women paced themselves around the 5-kilometer course through London's downtown. Some ran it competitively, and some, like our own Janice Zolf, walked it. The event, sponsored by Runner's Choice, is expected to raise around $3,000 for the clinic, which supports women victims of violence. Gus joins us now with weather. And Gus, it was a pretty good day today, but something's afoot tonight.
Absolutely. We've been enjoying some summery type weather, and with it comes some unstable conditions. In fact, we have a severe thunderstorm watch for Huron, Perth, Waterloo, Wellington, and Dufferin. These storms are expected to peter out about midnight. We'll take a look at that system in just a moment. Right now, we take you outside for a look at across Horton Street at City Centre in London, where it's currently 21 degrees. And looks like it's going to be a very mild evening. Let's take a look at our national satellite shot and the system that's bringing us, at least through Midwestern Ontario, a lot of rain right now, some scattered thunderstorm activity, is this front that's sweeping across the Great Lakes and pushing in ahead of it, that precipitation. That is expected to sweep eastward. In fact, the severe thunderstorm activity is occurring from Goderich, extending through to Brampton and Scarborough, and sweeping eastward quite quickly, as a matter of fact, and it should hopefully sweep out by early tomorrow morning, and we'll be back into a nice summery day tomorrow in the middle of spring. Here's how it looks at the moment regionally in our area. Lots of cloud cover, but most of the activity happening through Midwestern Ontario, and our radar showing the severe thunderstorm activity happening from Goderich, Kincardine area, extending eastward in a band right through Brampton, right through Scarborough, and it is sweeping eastward quite quickly, and most of the severe thunderstorm activity expected to be over around midnight. So we have mostly cloudy skies overnight and 100% chance of precipitation. That, of course, through Midwestern Ontario, as we were just looking on the radar, and the chance of precipitation drops to 40% through Essex and Kent County. They had some, Kent that is, had some thunderstorm activity earlier today. Overnight temperatures, a dozen through the Windsor area, 10 and 11 for London and Sarnia respectively, 8s and 7s as well, and some 6s up near Wyerton and Owen Sound area. Sunrise tomorrow at 6:28, setting at 8:19, and there's 70% chance of some more of that thunderstorm and scattered shower activity. That'll be in the morning, and hopefully things should dry up afterwards. Winds from the southwest at 30 kilometers an hour for tomorrow, and things clearing up through Essex and Kent County. Look at those daytime highs. We're well into the 20s, and yes, that is well above seasonal, but we'll take it, right? Here's how it shapes up for tomorrow again, and windy conditions, clearing conditions as well through the Windsor area, and high of 26, and some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity, a possibility of London and northward through Midwestern Ontario. For Tuesday, it looks like this with increasing cloud cover through the day, but we will get our fair share of sunshine, a windy day as well, and daytime highs in the 28 and 26 range. And for Wednesday, the sun's still lingering around, but clouds are a possibility, also a possibility of some shower activity. The almanac shapes up like this for today, and a high of 23 reached in London, 27 the high in Windsor, and Wingham 21. Winds at the moment are light southwesterly, barometer rising slowly, and the temperature at the moment still quite high in London at 21, Windsor as well at 23, and Wingham hanging in there at 14, and the relative humidity in the Wingham area quite high as well. So we've got a nice warm summery day shaping up for tomorrow.
And with the lights here, it's about 40 degrees. Bevan joins us now with sports, and Bevan, we have quite the battle going on in Chicago.
Yeah, the Leafs and the Hawks are just into the third period now, still duking it out. We'll have the highlights from the first couple periods for you in a minute. Game 4 between the Leafs and Hawks. Toronto with a 2-1 series lead. They lost last night, but not by much. And a 5-4 game, you would kind of get the feeling that had it gone on a few minutes longer, Toronto would have tied it, and then who knows in overtime. But anyways, that's all water under the bridge. Tonight, the Hawks came out flying right out of the gate last night, and they were trying tonight, but it was the Leafs who took the early momentum. However, Chicago did score first. Amonte and Gary Suter with the give and go. Suter pops it, and it's 1-0. Later in the first, Chicago on the power play. Suter gets it at the point. Big shot, gets through the traffic, and it's 2-0 Chicago. But just like yesterday, the blue and white come back. Doug Gilmour on the power play, wide open cage, and he cranks it right in there, 2-1. To the second period, another Toronto advantage, and Gilmour, what a beautiful feed to a wide open Dave Andrechuk, who bounces it off Belfour's pad and in, 2-2. Stayed that way into the third, and Gilmour working his magic again. The feed to Rob Pearson, nice little sweep move, puts it in, and it's 3-2 Toronto. However, Gary Suter just notched his third of the game, and all of a sudden that suspension that never happened hurts even more. They are tied at 3, playing in the third period in Chicago. We'll keep you updated. The Blues hosting the Stars this afternoon in a must-win game to avoid a first-round sweep. Mike Modano gets away with one here, breaks the helmet off Kevin Miller, no penalty. St. Louis on the power play. Phil Housley with the big shot, and it gets by Darcy Wakaluk, and it's 1-0. A scramble out in front, and Mike Medano, who misses there, just hangs around, waits for the puck, and it's got eyes. Goes right to him and then bulges the twine. It's a 1-1 game. On the power play, Russ Courtnall looking for Medano. Medano with a one-time shot from the face-off circle. 2-1 for the Stars at that point. In the final minutes, the Blues did push the puck over the line. However, Dan Marawelli, watch, he raises his arms, calls the play dead before the puck went in, and the Blues are tossed from the postseason in 4 straight. The Stars win it 2-1 and take the series 4-0. The Rangers also in a position to put the broom to the Islanders. 2-0 for New York Islanders until Alexei Kovalev finds his puck and puts it by Ronnie Hextall. It's 2-1. Tied at 2, Mark Messier with the steal and then beats Hextall through the 5-hole. That one's going to hurt Ronnie. 3-2. And then the tempers start to flare. The Islanders pretty much figuring that they're toast. And Mick Vakota, cheap shot artist here on Jay Wells. Oh, that hurt, didn't it? Ow, yeah, that really hurt. Late in the game, Messier gets the breakaway and trying to get some more revenge on Hextall. No trouble. Goes upstairs. That made it 5-2, and the Rangers become the first team ever to sweep the Islanders in a 4-game series. 5-2 the final tonight, and the Rangers move on. Calgary and Vancouver, the Flames are smoking. They got the win today. Theron Fleury with the game-clinching goal. They now lead that series over the Canucks 3-1. The Wings, by the way, with San Jose tied up at 2 apiece. Their next game is Tuesday. And from Junior B hockey round-robin tournament, Waterloo gets by Thorold 2-1. We'll have all the baseball news right after this. Well, the Jays on a 6-game winning streak sent Juan Guzman to the mound this afternoon, hoping he could brush aside the Twins for a nice 3-game sweep over Minnie. Not gonna happen. The Jays' defense was pretty weak today. Scott Leyes wraps Guzman's offering into right, bounces off the rug and over Joe Carter's head. You don't see that very often. Leyes gets all the way to third. He later scored on a sac fly, so it's 2-zip Twins. Top of the 7th, 3-1 Minnie. Matt Wahlbeck smacks one off the wall and right. Leyes scores again. Pat Borders trying to cut down Wahlbeck at second. Hits him with a bad throw. That allows another run to score, and it's 5-2 for the Twinks. They went on to win at 7-3. Just Juan's 5th loss in 26 decisions at Skydome. But there was some good news. Alex Gonzalez got a hit. Rah-rah, 7-3 the final. The other front runner in the East at home to the Angels. And check this out. This kid knows how to fish for autographs. Reels in Chad Curtis's John Henry. Nice move by the fan. Top of the 5th, tied at 4. Tim Salmon pulls it. Scott Cooper, what a stab. Gets up and delivers the gun for the out. Bottom of the 5th, Cooper does it with the stick. This is a huge swing, and this one's over the monster. 5-4 Boston out in front. Some great D helped preserve the win. First from Scott Fletcher with the over-the-shoulder catch, and then second from, you guessed it, Scott Fletcher with a nice diving stab. 5-4. The Bo Sox are now alone in first. Detroit and Chicago, Big Daddy, big belt off Jason Beret. He watches this one go. 3-run blast, and it's 3-2 for Detroit. Bottom of the 6th, John Doherty serves it up to Julio Franco, then to Robin Ventura. Back-to-back solo shots, just like that. The White Sox have the lead. It's 4-3. Bottom of the 8th. This is not a replay. Franco, Ventura connect for back-to-backers again. Ties the game at 6. They're still tied at 6 in the 9th until Cecil puts one through the wickets. Tony Phillips comes around to score the game-winning run. 7-6. The Tigers beat the White Sox. Elsewhere, it was Seattle getting by Baltimore by a similar count, 7-6. New York over the A's, 6-2. Big weekend for the Yankees. Milwaukee beat Kansas City, shut them out, 7-0 for the Brewers. Cleveland over the Rangers. Big bats in Cleveland, 12-7 the final. In the National League, Los Angeles and the Expos in the 7th inning right now. Dodgers out in front 7-1. By the way, Delino DeShields knocked out in last night's game when he collided with a teammate. He's been released from hospital. He has a concussion. Atlanta blanking the Pirates 3-zip. San Francisco doubling up the Mets 4-2. Chicago all over the Rockies, beat them 12-4. The Reds beat Florida 5-2. St. Louis 5-4 winners over Houston. And San Diego, the Padres hold on to beat the Phillies by a run. Today in New York, the beginning of the NFL two-day college draft, the Bengals with the #1 ticket.
Dan Wilkinson, #1.
Big Daddy is the toast of the 1994 draft. The reality was that the Bengals' most glaring need wasn't on the defensive line, but Dan Wilkinson was just too good to pass up. He has great speed and quickness for a guy who carries a 6'3", 327-pound body around with him. That's his alone. Then there are the opponents he drags around with him. With the second overall pick, the Colts made a run to San Diego State's Marshall Faulk. After finishing last in the league in rushing last year, Indianapolis needed someone to come out of the backfield with explosive speed. Faulk will do that and attract attention so other facets of the offense can prosper.
Yes, sir. Sounds great. It's Washington.
That call was the answer to a major problem for the Redskins. Who is their quarterback of the future? It's Tennessee's Heath Shuler, considered the most mobile quarterback in the draft, and a guy who Washington feels will fit perfectly into new head coach Norv Turner's plans.
And the Lions' top pick was wide receiver Johnny Morton from Southern Cal. The Browns took Antonio Langham, a DB out of Alabama. Well, the PGA Tour stop this weekend was the Greater Greensboro Open in North Carolina, and it was all Mike Springer. He had a huge lead going into the final 18, just shot even par today, but it was good enough for a three-stroke victory over three others. This was Springer's first PGA win. Canada's Dave Barr, the top Canadian as usual. He gets 13.5 thou. He was 10 shots off the pace. The NBA regular season wrapped up today. The Pistons closing the book on a brutal campaign with a 110-102 loss to the Sixers. And the Knicks wrapped up for the playoffs in style. Big 92-76 win over the Bulls. They're ready to take a run at winning it all. And the Leafs and Hawks still tied at 3.
And you wonder as a pitcher after serving up back-to-back home runs why you just didn't walk to the fence yourself and throw the ball over.
That's one idea.
Okay, thanks, Bevan. It's time now for Win TV.
This is Win TV, brought to you by the Ontario Lottery Corporation. The Mother's Day gift pack contains $10 worth of instant tickets, 4 Blooming Fortunes, 1 Money Showers, 1 Mega Box, and 1 instant bingo ticket, plus a chance to win a spa holiday weekend for 2. Here's how you can get the past week's winning numbers. Look for all the week's winning numbers on Monday in the Ontario Lottery Corporation's Did You Win ad in most Ontario daily newspapers. Or for a winning numbers brochure, call our consumers line at 1-800-387-0098. Watch Win TV nightly at this time for more winning numbers.
Still to come on News Now tonight, Chevy Chase can't buy a break on Starbreak. We'll be right back. Well, he missed the mark with his late-night TV talk show, and according to Gene Siskel, it's hard to break a smile with Chevy Chase's latest project on the big screen. Here's tonight's Starbreak.
Cops and Robertsons is an absolutely dreadful film with Chevy Chase quickly wearing out his welcome on the big screen now as a TV cop show junkie who gets a fantasy come true when a real-life detective, Jack Palance, moves into his house as part of a stakeout.
What's the cat doing in the closet?
Who knows? Be doing anything in there, the door's closed.
Norman, let the cat out of the closet.
I can't do that, Helen.
Why not?
Because I'm training her. She was a bad cat, and I'm disciplining her.
Bad cat. Very bad.
What's going on? Nothing. Go back to sleep.
You thought the Chevy Chase talk show was boring? Well, you haven't seen, and there's no reason you should see Cops and Robertsons with its lifeless action humor.
You talking to me? You talking to me? You talk me? You? Me? Norman?
I didn't laugh once during this tedious story, and as I watched it glumly, I started to wonder where anyone thought the laughs were supposed to be. Cops and Robertsons, a candidate for one of the year's worst films. I'm Gene Siskel.
I don't think he liked it. Stories about flying saucers might not be so crazy anymore. A British newspaper reports that Russian scientists have built and tested the world's first flying saucer. The craft, shaped like a poached egg, is a remote-controlled prototype. Scientists plan to test a larger version this summer, eventually building a full-scale manned version that can carry up to 400 people. A murder in Chatham and the Detroit River got a spring cleaning. Those are just two of the stories in the news. Here's our weekend wrap. A 7-year-old was found beaten to death in Chatham Saturday night. Daniel Miller's body was discovered in an abandoned building in the city's East End. 18-year-old Jeffrey Wayne Manley has been charged with the murder. In world news, Bosnian Serbs avoided threats of NATO airstrikes Saturday by pulling back from Gorazda. UN medical evacuations of the town began today. In Toronto, Canadian Serbs protested outside the U.S. consulate Saturday, accusing NATO of siding with Bosnia's Muslims. The office of Windsor MP Herb Gray was one target of a Canada-wide campaign launched Saturday by labor unions to protest cuts in unemployment insurance. And Earth Day was marked this weekend in southwestern Ontario. Near Amherstburg, scuba divers did a cleanup Sunday, scooping up trash from the Detroit River. And that's the show. That's the weekend. Have a great week. Good night.
Bye-bye.